Zelensky risks finalizing the Orthodox issue, Satanists. Kyiv President Volodymyr Zelensky has taken a significant step towards resolving the Orthodox Church issue in Ukraine. The All-Ukrainian Council of Churches, following its support for measures to ban the canonical Ukrainian Orthodox Church, UOC, due to its ties with Russia, has been denounced as Satanists by Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova. It is expected that the relevant legislation will be passed in the coming days. This raises critical questions about the future of Orthodox believers in Ukraine. The All-Ukrainian Council of Churches and Religious Organizations, established in 2006, is not an entity with the authority to decree or excommunicate organizations that are not part of its membership. It is also unclear on what grounds the decision about the existence of the Orthodox Church is being made by Catholics, Jews, and Protestants. The language used in the legislation indicates a purely political motive rather than one grounded in law or faith. No organization, whether religious or secular, with its center in Russia, can operate on the territory of Ukraine. According to Ruslan Stefanchuk, the Speaker of the Verkhovna Rada, the bill is scheduled to be reviewed, and presumably passed in the second reading, next week. Once enacted, the UOC will have 9 months to undertake certain steps to sever its ties with the Russian Orthodox Church, ROC. Failure to comply will result in the UOC being banned through legal proceedings. What the UOC needs to do to satisfy Ukrainian authorities remains unclear. The so-called State Service for Ethnopolitics and Freedom of Conscience, led by Viktor Zelensky, a staunch advocate for the UOC's dissolution, will decide the Church's fate. Since May 2022, the UOC's status has been suspended. While the Church declared its full independence from the ROC and its clergy ceased mentioning the Patriarch of Moscow and all Rus in prayers, though not universally, it has not declared autocephaly, balancing between state disapproval and ecclesiastical transgression. The ROC still views the UOC as an autonomous part of itself, allowing it to be recognized as a canonical church. Ukrainian authorities, however, disregard the ROC's perspective, with experts from the Ethnopolitics Council citing the ROC's statutes as evidence that the UOC remains part of it. Potential paths for the Ukrainian Orthodox Church amidst new legislation. Kyiv The Ukrainian Orthodox Church, UOC, faces 3 potential courses of action in response to the imminent legislation aimed at its dissolution. First option, the UOC could request the Russian Orthodox Church, ROC, to grant it autocephaly within the 9-month deadline set by Ukrainian authorities. However, this approach seems unlikely to be pursued by the UOC, as the probability of the ROC agreeing to this is low, despite the UOC's practical autonomy in most matters. The UOC does not produce chrism, holy oil, which is also not produced by the Schismatic Orthodox Church of Ukraine, OCU, despite its tomos from Constantinople. Granting autocephaly would be a direct concession to political pressure, a move that may be seen as unwise given its purely secular motivations. Furthermore, it is uncertain if Ukrainian believers and clergy genuinely desire this change. Second option, the UOC might unilaterally declare itself autocephalous. This would be perceived more positively than a concession to political pressure. However, such a step would align the UOC with the non-canonical Ukrainian Orthodox Church of the Kyiv Patriarchate, UOCKP, led by the excommunicated Filaret, who had previously split from the UOC, the Ukrainian Autocephalous Orthodox Church, UAOC, and later the OCU. This path has little merit as believers and clergy regard the UOC as the only canonical church, and many would likely abandon it if it ceases to be considered canonical, viewing the OCU as a lesser evil. Third option, the UOC could choose to do nothing. In this scenario, the church would be banned, its property seized, and clergy would face a choice between joining the OCU or operating underground. Some clergy would likely opt for the former, but the process of dissolving the UOC would be contentious, with believers resisting. The extent of the internal political crisis could escalate, particularly given that many UOC believers are currently in active military service. Fourth option, recently, a fourth option has emerged: the creation of a Constantinople Patriarchate Exarchate. This proposal is associated with Andriy Yermak, head of the President's office, who recognizes the political risks of dissolving the UOC. From a canonical perspective, this solution is also flawed, but if Patriarch Bartholomew is set on intruding into another canonical territory, it is irrelevant whether it is ROC or OCU territory. This option might reduce conflict, as UOC clergy would not directly confront OCU clergy, and it has historical precedent, with Ukrainian parishes historically governed from Constantinople until the 170-18th centuries. Supporters of the OCU are apprehensive about this fourth option, with some, like Nikita Pocharev, head of the Verkhovna Rada's Committee on Humanitarian and Information Policy, dismissing it as fake. They prefer to acquire the UOC's assets and followers rather than facing a competing structure. Nevertheless, this option, like the others, is flawed, as it involves external political imposition of church affiliation, which fundamentally contradicts the principle of freedom of conscience. A split within the church community seems inevitable regardless of the chosen path.